The stars have aligned in bringing us all together in the love and hope that is Star Trek. We welcome you to the Captain's Quadrant. So please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. It helps the love spread. Welcome, everyone. I have all my lovely friends here. I've got the lovely Captain Nita of the USS Caliente. I've got the lovely Navia, that girl Navia. And I've got the ever amazing Commander Jace. And I'm Captain Joe Dove. Let us hop into the episode summary. Among the Lotus Eaters, returning to a planet that dredges up tragic memories, Captain Pike and his landing party find themselves forgetting everything, including their own identities, as he confronts a ghost from his past.
I'm just telling you, I must have one of those asteroids because I don't remember anything anymore, and I got ringing in my ears constantly.
Oh no!
So
I sometimes end up in a room and go, "What? What am I doing here?"
That might be old age.
My wife wakes up like that, but she usually wakes up and goes, "What am I doing with him?" But it's okay. I'm used to it. It's all good.
She's like, "Where's he?"
She's been doing it for 27 years. It's fine.
All right, let's hop into First Contact.
Oh, we're going to do First Contact.
Thanks. For sure, he smelt it. All right, Nita, start us off this week. What was your first contact for the episode?
I loved this episode. Absolutely loved it. It really showcased, Lieutenant Ortega.
Yeah, that was nice.
So much. And I love how they really were there for each other as a group. I love this episode. Fantastic.
Navia.
So I think my Star Trek fan card is going to be taken away because as soon as Una said Rigel 7, I thought, that sounds familiar, whatever. It's probably a weird planet that Kirk probably slept with an alien on. And I just threw it into the back of my mind. And 10 minutes into the episode, I'm like, this is a weird episode. I'm kind of bored. And so I finally decided to Google what Rigel 7 was. And oh my God, I felt like the biggest idiot.
Commander?
Yeah, I've got to say, this is my favourite episode of the season so far. I loved the idea and concept of it. I don't know, I just connected with it. I really connected with Ortega's storyline, and see her being the hero of the story I really kind of loved. And I just liked that it felt very TOS to me. Just the idea of the plot and how it was kind of executed. And it wasn't done with muscle and brawn. It was done with, just really applying their own strategy to a situation. I loved it.
Strategy, epic costumes, cold planets. We had all the elements here to make a great episode. And I thought this was a lot of fun, and I had a great time. And we are ready to go into the next segment, Commander.
Hey, wait. We have somebody else. We know Jason isn't here at the moment.
Yeah.
We need to, but he's assured us that he has someone in the studio who's going to fill in for him. So let's see who's in the studio. Oh, hi, Battlecat. How's it all going for you? What did you think of the episode? Okay, fine. Be rude then. I don't care. In case anyone doesn't realise, Jason is currently in Japan
on an away mission.
He is on a away mission, and so that's why he may not be on for a couple of episodes. So please just still stick with us anyway. But hey, let's. He's been sending us some really great stuff. What he's been doing in Japan. So let's have a look at some of the things he's been sending me. I love the fact he really adapted to the culture quite quickly. So I think that's really considerate of him, to be honest with you.
He's going to call you.
Yeah. Hey, but aren't you guys worried as much as I am about the guy? I really am, because he's so tall,
He's very tall.
Because, Japan, they're a little bit shorter. He's so tall. So, but he sent me a photo, which makes me feel more confident. He's doing just fine over there.
Oh,
Good on, Jace. We hope he's having the time of his life.
So what kind of mission is he in Japan that he looked like that?
I don't know, but he's looking rather svelte. He's been working out.
He's been working out, and he's making world peace, one stomp at a time.
Yeah. Jason's so going to ring me.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
was gonna say you're gonna get a call right after the
Yeah.
show. What the fucking tarnation got there?
That's what he gets for going to have fun, all right? That's what he gets.
Oh,
Next
man.
segment, Captain.
Next segment, sir.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
You know, I mimic that every time you play. I'm
Yeah.
going, maybe good, maybe cheap. All right. Let's start with Navia, your pros and cons. What was maybe good? What was maybe shit?
For my pros, I love the way Rigel 7 looked. And I
Yeah.
think in this episode, we got like a full view of the AR screen that they used to film the show. And it was very obvious they're using it. It looked great, but it was just very obvious they're using it. But I love the way the set looked this episode. Also, I love that this is basically a throwback to all the classic Trek episodes we've seen before. It felt like coming home. It was really nice. Once I figured out we were on Rigel 7, it felt like coming home. And then obviously the costumes. I always love the costumes on Strange New Worlds. They do such a good job, and the costumes were great. For my con, I feel like this was supposed to be an Ortega's episode, but we didn't get enough of her on screen. I really would have loved it if she was at the forefront. She was kind of, but not really. So that's my con.
It's funny that you mentioned the costumes. Secret out. I actually work in fashion industry, and it's one of the last things I notice.
Oh, really?
Still blows my mind that you do, Joe. But anyway.
People are like, you do what? Yeah, you know,
You?
I'm not a bouncer, believe it or not. But I
He's
usually,
a bodyguard
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the
I
fashion
usually-
industry.
I'm always looking at people's shoes,
Uh-huh.
but I never look at the costumes. And now that it's like, it's part of the whole. And now
Yeah.
you've made me realize to look at everything. I just wanted to thank you for that. Nita.
Well, I want to start with my pros.
for it.
I was really impressed by Lieutenant Ortega, the actress. I think she just blew it out of the park this week with this episode. She got a chance to really explore different dimensions in her acting, right? Because she was this confident, let's go on the away mission, and we got to hear her do her log. But then we got that disappointed side of her. And then when she forgot her memories, we got the scared part of her that you never really see. I really enjoyed how Spock dealt with it right before they forgot their memory, giving her the pad. This is just in case you forget, and then, but they didn't realize the pad wasn't going to help him because he couldn't read it. I love that. He's like, yeah, it's me. I don't know what it's saying. And I love the moment that Pike remembers who he is. That he's beating on this guy, and his mind is not all there. Poor Zach getting beat up, but all of a sudden he realizes who he is, and he holds back. And I thought that was really fantastic. Con, I'm with Navia. When Ortega started, I expected more from Ortega. I thought this was going to be an full-on Ortega episode. I was like, my sister, my Latina sister was like, vámonos, Ortega. But they just, they held us back because we're too much sometimes. I can accept that. But I was a little disappointed at that. I was disappointed that we didn't get more to see more of how the other crew members were handling their absent-mindedness or their amnesia. We got a little bit, of it. I thought it was odd that Una, who was genetically altered in utero and can cure herself and so many things, couldn't last as long as Spock did. I expected Spock to last because he's Vulcan, right? His brain works differently, but I expected her to be right along with him. So I didn't understand that so much, but maybe it was done because they wanted to feature Ortega more. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's all I got.
Okay. And Commander?
One of the things I love about this episode was the religion built around forgetting.
Oh.
So when they're on that planet, the way they were coping with it is they had built an ideology around coping with it, with that old guide that came in. And I absolutely love that. I love the forgetfulness part because they kept getting waves of it throughout the episode. So they would make some headway and then boom, reset. And he having to kind of inch forward in their journey, which I thought was really good storytelling. With Ortegas, I love the fact that in previous episodes, we know that's not the first time she was said no to on an away mission. So they'd set this up. Like, it was good writing again. That was the second time I remember her going, sorry, you're not going on the away mission. And the fact that she's walking down the hallway. I am Lieutenant Ortegas and I pilot this ship.
Yes.
I'm just going, you go, girl, you get there. You know, I was rooting for her so hard in that moment. I thought Pike's emotional journey through this episode was quite good. His breakdown in his relationships, and him being called on the fact that that's what he does when people get too close to him. He pulls back, and him having to get over himself in a way. And finally, one of the other thing I love is the brutality of Pike at the scene you were talking about, Nita. The pure brutality where I'm going, oh snap, he might kill this guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I was convinced he was.
Mm-hmm. Same.
And how can you hate an episode where the red shirt finally doesn't die and he becomes a villain?
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, he's a mean daddy.
I love the idea of that. I thought that is quintessential Star Trek for me. No, some of the cons, the only con I have, I'm actually going to steal this from our co-host who's not here today, Jason, because I asked Jason what he thought of the episode, and he said he loved it, but one thing he would have done, and I think this is a brilliant move, is make it like that film Memento, where it was actually plays backwards.
Oh.
Because there are some similarities there, because they are putting markings on their arms to kind of as a way to tell stories. So, yeah, that's probably the only other con. Oh, and also that moment with the old man when he's actually in there and he realises, like, all the sorrow coming out of him because he's realising he had a family and all that kind of thing. I thought it was a beautiful moment.
Mm-hmm.
So
if you haven't guessed, I liked it.
So since you brought him up, he's like his voice sounded really familiar, and his face, though with makeup, looked familiar. Does anybody know where that guy was from?
No, but he does look familiar. I think you're right.
So, I was like bugging me, and I didn't have time to like look it up because I just watched it an hour before our show. So I was like, who is this guy? And I was trying to IMDb, but there's so many people in the show that it's like I'm like scrolling through, and then you got makeup and not makeup. So it's like, I don't know what he looks like without makeup. So I'm never gonna know. So I was hoping. So if there's a lot of folks in the comments today, so if you're in the comments and you know who that guy is, please let us know who he is and where he's from. And
because Joe's trying to deal with his forgetting as much as
I forgot who he was. It bugged me, you know.
It's not Joel's fault. He lives on Rigel 7.
There you go.
He
It's a
built his
very
house on top of
fancy
this
castle.
asteroid, which was a
It's a very fancy castle, though.
Yeah.
But it's Rigel 7.
Yeah. I enjoyed this a lot. I think the biggest pro was, of course, the red shirt, but also the fighting that they did in this one. I like a little bit of swashbuckling, and I got what I wanted. And there was moments where you felt like, okay, this could be really bad for someone, and maybe they won't come back to the ship because someone, and cat's out of the bag, started a music career, and that would be Miss Chong. And I thought, maybe she wants to just go forward with her music career and go, sayonara, Star Trek, you know, but nope, she made it. She's like, oh no, my guts, I'll put them back. You know?
There's no Tasha Yar happening here,
no Tasha Yar here, baby.
Yeah.
So,
Joe, Captain Joe, we do have an answer to your question.
Oh, sweet.
Please put it up, Nita, if you've got it.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but I thought you might want to know that Sarah says his name is Reed Burney.
Hey, Sarah.
If you can check and see where he is from that we might know, because that would be awesome.
Yeah.
We're making poor Sarah go to IMDb.
Sarah's our research.
That's what we're doing.
She's our researcher now. She didn't know, but she's getting that title.
Yeah. Congratulations, Sarah. We're very proud of you.
It's a promotion. Congrats.
And my cons for this episode, though very small, was for a planet that's very icy, they certainly managed to build a shrubbery, quite a large shrubbery nonetheless, and kind of threw away with a little bit of reality, because it's like, well, we've got this ice thing, and you guys still managed to put up a tree. DC's Titans. That's why.
Ah,
there we go.
go.
Thank
Well
you,
done,
Sarah.
Sarah. And how quick was that, by the way,
Yeah,
Sarah?
she
You're-
was-
Yeah.
you're
He's a
on
master
fire.
researcher.
Apparently.
Mhm.
I hope that's what you do for a living, because if not, you should.
Yeah.
I'm missing out. Thank you, Sarah. You're
Yeah.
awesome. And then the other thing for the cons, I was now this is just me being a little bit nitpicky, but we had one of the best episodes from last season was Children of the Comet, with the Ma Deep had come, and who knows what it was. It would have been cool if they somehow tied that two together, and the Ma Deep did this to this planet as opposed to the other one. It would have just been a nice little tie-in.
I want expansion, to be honest with you. I want nothing. No, it doesn't all have to be tied together. I
Right,
like
it
the idea. It's a giant universe out there.
Yeah. It's a giant universe, but those comets are also always out there, so it would have been interesting to see them have an effect on another planet. And
But you're not alone, Joe.
what's that? It skipped. What was it? What did you say?
I said you're not alone, Joe.
Okay.
I thought that she was gonna die too.
Yeah.
I thought Lieutenant Khan was gonna die soon. Khan was gonna die, and because they had nothing, not even local medicine to help her. And
Yeah.
they're close to the end of the episode, and I'm going, okay, she did release a video. She is putting out her music, and she's fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
But I'm like, is she leaving us this way? That will be sad. I was kind of like, I expected her to die, and I expected to be very sad about it and disappointed. But I'm quite pleased that she stayed. I think her character would really just flourish and really bring a benefit to the show.
Yeah. She's what we call the industry multitasking. So I can sing, I can act,
And dance.
and dance. Yeah. All right. Next segment, Commander.
Fight it well.
That laugh is so creepy.
Yeah. That's what he really thinks, though. Hey, look, like obviously this is our segment. We can just interrupt each other all thing long, and we probably should pull up some comments too along in this segment. So if you see any great comments in there, need to throw them up. But
Yeah.
we're 4 episodes in already on Strange
Yeah.
New Worlds. What's the vibe like on this season so far for everyone?
I don't think
Like-
it's as good as last season.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I'm
Like
glad
that.
you pulled that band-aid
Yeah.
off there. Because that's what I was going to
Yeah.
say. Like, it's been good, but it is
Yeah.
not, I think, at the level that we had early on first season.
Yeah.
But do you think it was just because we were excited for Strange New Worlds last season, and this season's like it's coming back home again?
I think they had to deal with the Una situation, which cost them 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Because, again, if that first episode very much feels like it should have been the B plot of the second episode.
Right.
But they had such strong content in that second episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in a way, I feel that's kind of not been
And we got a lot of
beneficial to this
action in the
season.
first season.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Cool action, but Ernesto says in a comment here, throwback to the original pilot, The Cage.
It is.
Absolutely, and I
Yeah.
think that we tend to forget that those episodes, like The Cage, are not the action-packed episodes where you see people like
But I don't-
Dr. Mbenga doing all his skills.
Yeah.
Those are slower, more mentally challenging episodes.
Which
And
I
think
enjoy a
that-
lot myself.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
don't
a
think you
throwback to
need
the
to.
original series where they were more mental episodes than they were physical ones.
Yeah.
Mind you, I will say the moment in the episode where she's going for the Astro and sets the 2 lasers and cuts a hole through it.
Yes.
That was cool.
Was kick ass.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Like, even though that was a great little nerd moment when we went,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Devin has a good question that we could explore. As he says, I wonder if Spock couldn't read it because of his dyslexia.
That's a
it's
fair
been-
point.
Oh.
That is a good
Yeah,
point.
because as a child, he had the Vulcan equivalent to that. And I wonder, was it because he couldn't read it because he was incapable because of the amnesia or his dyslexia?
Yeah,
a
which
good
was, a rare mistake by Spock, though, isn't it? You don't get to see many of them, but you do get a mistake in his plan. Here, take your personal information, we'll be good. She was wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe should have been pictures.
Yeah, or tattoos like Homeboy.
Yeah.
But how Ortegas finds out, like the key to her finding out is accidentally saying something to the computer.
Yeah.
Like that was
Yeah.
incidental. That was just she had
Yeah.
said something and goes, "You're Lieutenant Ortegas." You know?
Yeah.
And you fly the ship.
Yeah, you fly the ship.
You fly the
Philip's
ship.
comment about that is interesting. He says they should have dropped the C plot of Pike and Batel's romance, expanded Ortega's B plot to be on par with the landing party.
No.
That's interesting. What do you guys think of that?
I see where he's coming from, and I think he has some points, but I like the romance.
Yeah,
I like
same.
that the complexity of that relationship.
I
It's
think so too.
we don't see
Yeah.
a lot of in Star Trek is equal captains and how they maintain a relationship because
Yeah.
I found it that very much like Deep Space Nine, even though she wasn't a Starfleet captain. Captain Cassidy
She
Yates
was a
captain.
she was a
Fell
captain.
in love.
Okay, well,
So there was a
I'll take
lot
that
of
back.
parallels to that, and then they're both
Yeah.
cooking. So you got Anson Mount cooking, and then you got Captain Cisco cooking. So they're like, you know what really works in Deep Space Nine?
All
Let's
right,
put that in.
you know what we need? We need some kind of like cooking. You know, what's that cook-off they have on TV?
Yeah. We need a
Cisco versus Pike.
Cisco versus the Pike.
Yes.
What is it?
It's a
Yeah.
Japanese
Oh,
show,
my
isn't it?
God.
And
Iron
they,
Chef.
Iron
Iron
Chef.
Chef. We
Star
got
Trek
Iron
edition.
Chef. Star Trek edition's got to
Iron Chef.
happen, right?
Star Trek Iron Chef.
Yup.
That'd be
Yeah,
amazing.
Star
we
Trek
should,
Iron Chef. There you go.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned it last week.
Now, what do you
about-
guys think of Carol Kane not
being on that
showcased?
one. Yeah.
John
yeah.
says, "I'm mad we got no Carol Kane in this
Hey,
episode."
It's
John.
always disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because she's a scene
Yeah.
stealer.
Yeah.
You know, I could watch a whole series just based off of her.
Yeah.
I would love to see like an anthology series, which each episode is a different time period,
Yes.
and her living through that. I'd be so down for that.
Yeah. that
Yeah, I
was-
miss her a lot.
She would have
Yeah.
been perfect in this episode. Just see her wandering the Enterprise.
What does that button do?
Yeah.
Stealing
yes.
stuff from people.
Oh,
I
yes.
would like to see her be like, "Oh, maybe
Yeah,
let me go into this room.
Maybe
and
she
just grab
steals everybody's
something."
shit. Imagine, like she just mine now.
And you would think she would have thrown to her because she's a pretty integral part of
Carol
the
was
function of
stealing
that ship, right? Carol was stealing artifacts, absolutely.
But that would have
Absolutely.
been awesome to see
Yeah.
her wander without her memory
Yes.
voice and
Yeah.
you know accidentally touch the door and go
Yeah.
into someone's room and go, "Oh,
Just
this
take a
is
shit.
nice. I'm taking this."
I would
Did I
love
just
that.
steal
That would
it?
be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be so great. Paramount, pay
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Maybe next
stealing if
week.
they don't remember, right?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Was it one of you guys last week that said, because this has been bugging me now ever since
Uh-oh.
somebody said it, is what's the deal with this version of the Enterprise having such amazing captain's quarters?
Yeah.
Because he does. I mean, he's got his own kitchen and his
And it's
own
on the front of the
entertaining area.
ship, so he gets to look
Poor
out the window
Kirk
first.
gets screwed,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
he had like a tube. Hey, go back. to the
Yeah,
tube.
like
That's it.
nothing.
He had to go to like the lunchroom to get a chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
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 exactly.
There was no.
Maybe Kirk is of the people and he just wanted to blend in with the crew.
Yeah,
No, he,
Do you
he wanted to
think that
sleep with
was
all the
a-
women on the crew. That's what he
exactly.
wanted.
Do you think it was a mistake to upgrade the captain's room since it's prior to Kirk? You know what I'm
Yeah,
trying to ask?
I mean, maybe for us kind of really picky kind of continuity guys, but I see Strange New Worlds very much as a reboot for this generation.
Yeah.
So that's why we're getting storylines that are harkening back to the original series. It's Star Trek to go and go, look, this is a version of Star Trek you guys may have not seen before. So in a way, they're retelling. So they're going to make those kind of changes. I mean, a purist would go, it should look exactly like the original Apprentice.
Yeah.
Can't even get that word. Enterprise,
Enterprise.
Jason.
Ernesto says, Joe, that Penlia would not be able to get a prize.
Nobody's
Well,
Well, I
feeling
hope
it's
not. The
safe.
Ghetto Prize is the
There it is right
greatest
there.
thing ever.
It is the greatest thing.
2,000
the
views?
greatest
I
thing
love
ever.
the ghetto prize.
Nina, you have to throw up that comment from Aaron.
Hey, Ron.
Which ones do you? do
Kirk
it 'cause
walled
I
off
don't know.
3/4 of his quarters.
No, put it up. Can you
can I
put
do
it
I
up?
got it. I got it.
Okay.
got it,
'cause I don't
got it.
see
Walled
There
off
we go.
part of his quarters for his own private red room. Oh my God! Accessible to only certain. Oh boy!
That's iffy.
Oh, the ship was huge. Was that the A though, Jace? in the original Enterprise motion picture?
It wasn't the A yet, was it?
And I remember it didn't have those
refit.
circular-
It was a
It was a
refit.
refit. Okay.
Yeah.
But you see, the motion picture came after all of this, after TOS,
Right.
after this,
Yeah.
in timeline. So that makes actual sense, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not really a problem that he has a nice.
No.
It really is. It is not really a big
And
deal.
it actually
It's
works
not
as a
about
good
the
story
chorus.
point. It's a
Yeah.
good way for us to see the crew together and a bit more of a social kind of gathering. I mean, some of my favourite scenes last season were in that room. So, yeah.
So the A was thanks. A was in 4 forward. So the one with the whales, right? Is that the one with the whales?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one
Yeah.
with the whales. All right. Anybody else? Oh, you know what we should talk about, guys?
What?
The return of Star Trek on Netflix. I went to my
What?
Netflix account and I just watched
What?
Star Trek Into Darkness last night.
Yes,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
on
Because I
there.
had some
Oh,
issues
In
going
the
to
Darkness
sleep.
is on there.
Yeah, and went back on.
No,
Netflix.
no offense, but that's a US problem. We've had Star Trek on Netflix for years now. here in
Really?
Australia.
We had it.
Yeah.
This
So
was season
wow.
1 was on Netflix, and then it just boop.
No, we've had
We
the whole
used to
lot.
have all of them, but
Yeah.
then when
Yeah.
Paramount took over CBS,
Right.
they removed everything, movies, Kelvin Timeline, everything.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we got one of the
Kelvin-
Kelvin Timeline movies, which I was like, and it made me look to see if there was more stuff, but there was just that.
Yeah, it's the
Well,
Beyond
you know, we're
and-
opening up a can of worms here talking about the Paramount thing because I think it's confused a lot of people out there.
Oh, yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
there's a lot of fear out there in regards to it. It is going to be a difficult time in the short term, but it will find another home. There's no way
Absolutely.
you lose you are going to mess too much with a franchise that prints money.
Yeah.
It may not print money for the streaming service. It may not even print money at the cinema. But this thing sells T-shirts, toys, ghetto prizes constantly. So it's a money-making machine, which means to
Yeah.
everyone, it's just going to find another home.
Yeah.
It's just in this awkward phase.
Yeah.
And I think that one thing that Jason I has, because we've seen, we've been, I think we can confidently say we've seen Star Trek longer than Joe and Navia. due,
Not
to
that much,
our age,
unfortunately.
due to our age,
Only 8 years, guys.
but we can say that when it comes to the fandom, Star Trek fans can be a
Pushy.
very powerful influence and very aggressive about what they want and what they don't want. And when they want something done, we saw it when the internet wasn't a thing, when you physically had to go and protest and send letters, physical letters, not emails,
Yeah.
and they got things done.
Season
So,
3 of
yeah,
TOS doesn't exist without the fans getting involved. And as
exactly.
they have, like you said, several times throughout it. So that's why I think this, because we've gone through a lot in the last couple of months, I think by the end of the year, we'll all go, okay, we now know where the new home is. We now know what's kind of going on. We know that we've got Discovery coming up soon. Like, all this will sort itself out, I think. But yeah, it's crazy time, right?
There's 2 comments I want to tackle before we move on.
Yeah.
I'll pull them up. Don't worry.
Okay.
And that is, does anyone have P+ for anything other than Star Trek? So
No.
in our
Yeah, I do.
circle, I like Tulsa. That's a very fun show. It's like
I watch all the
Mama
Yellowstones.
Mafia's boss, you know what I'm
I
saying?
love
Actually,
Yellowstone.
yeah, I since I figured if I pay for the service and I paid for a year, so I didn't have to think about it monthly.
Yeah.
I watch as much as I can out of that.
Yeah, look, I watch.
I know.
Did you watch Yellowstone? That was cool.
Yeah.
No,
Yellowstone's
that I didn't watch because
amazing,
that just didn't
amazing.
really interest me.
It's a really good show.
It's a fantastic show. Hey, Star Trek fans are not the only ones being screwed here on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, it's a lot of.
I do a show with Jason called the VHS File, and we had just finished doing Friday the 13th franchise. They pulled all those movies.
pulled
off.
everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we were really lucky when we got all those shows done.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're wholesaling going in and pulling out stuff. It's
Well,
we feel like they owe us an explanation, but I reckon if they tried to give us one, it would be so steeped in lawyer like wording, we wouldn't understand what's going on anyway.
well, I can give you a quick Guest
No,
station.
I do not need that. So I would rather hear from
another
Battle
merger.
Cat regarding this.
Oh.
What do you think, Battle Cat?
Oh.
Think about it. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I think she summed it up well.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. One word
excellent
answers are always good. Yeah.
I
All
think she
right.
has a good grasp on the concept.
Are we ready for our next segment, Commander?
We are. Well, our next segment is we're thrown to a commercial.
All right, let's go.
Star Trek, the game. A game so challenging, you need this combat control panel to play it. Take command of the Starship Enterprise as you battle your way through unknown sectors. Blast Klingons. Raise your shields. Watch for space mines. Is this the most challenging game in the galaxy?
It's inhuman.
Star Trek from Sega.
Wow.
I love the fact you. Yeah.
So I have a question for Joe and Navia. Do
Yeah.
you guys even know
Yeah,
what
I
that
grew up.
controller is?
Yeah, the Atari. Yeah, I had an Atari. I had a ColecoVision, and I had a Sega Master Drive system because my uncle loved those things. And then when Nintendo came out, he's like, "I bought myself a Nintendo. Do you want these scraps, kid?" You know, so I started off with Pong and worked my way up to Mega Man. So I've experienced that game. I don't remember if I had that game, but I just remember there was a game where it was like there was an alligator and I had to like run across the jungle and like grab something on the Atari. And I remember going, keep going with it. I like the Atari.
But let's look at that commercial though. Like, how pointless is the sleeve going over the joystick?
Yeah,
What was that
Doesn't do
about?
anything.
Yeah, what was
It's
that
just
about?
you still
I
need to
don't know.
push the same button.
you
and
still have
this
to
way.
move that impossibly
Oh, my man.
difficult joystick around.
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah,
worst
it
joystick.
did.
Aaron Sugar says that he played the arcade version. of
Yeah,
that.
I remember that too. Yeah, up 100%. 100%. Better frame
Wow.
rate on the arcade one. All right, we ready to throw? We're going to go to now one of my favourite new segments. It's time we celebrate another awesome Star Trek fan.
I should have told folks to put on their 3D glasses like one of those rides at Disney. It feels like a flight sim.
Yes.
In a little bit, a little bit.
Good job. buddy.
Now, our awesome Star Trek fan of the week. And what makes a good, awesome Star Trek fan? I suppose there's a good question out there. We're not looking at, the big fish here. You know what I mean? Because we could turn around and go, Ethan Peck's a great Star Trek fan. We're not looking at these guys. We're looking at the grassroots people who spend all their time getting involved in this unbelievable franchise and trying to not only, just live their passion out, but they share it with us too. So this week, we've got someone recommended to me. We do on this show, we put it out there and people get to make suggestions. I do believe this is Nita's suggestion. As soon as she said it, we had a unanimous yes.
Yep.
This guy needs to be highlighted.
I like
and
this
we're
guy.
talking about at Philip 1814.
Yes.
Yay, everyone applaud, everyone applaud.
Nita,
This
do you
guy's
wanna-
fantastic.
Yeah.
He is. I see him on TikTok all the time. I'm super jealous that he's got the body he has.
Yeah, same.
So he can wear those uniforms so well, and he's a lovely guy. But Nita, what makes Philip so awesome?
He is the most loving and inclusive individual you will find, not just when it comes to Star Trek, but just including you in a supportive environment. I actually found a wonderful group of people on TikTok through Philip that literally just hang out doing lives, and we do silly things and make each other feel better. And he is so open about talking about his personal things in a way that will help other people. Because when you open yourself up like that to help others, it's an incredible amount of strength that it takes, and I completely admire him. He is so supportive. When he goes to the cons, he actually was at the same con when Joe was there
Yeah,
at
that's
the
right.
con in Philadelphia. And I texted him, I said, "Go find him." And he was like, "Yeah, I see him." And then when he turns around, you were gone.
I am like,
He missed
I'm like
you.
a shadow. Like you'll see me. Oh, there's Joe, and then you turn around. Look, it's Joe, and you turn back. Joe's gone. because I'd be
But
like,
he's just an incredibly inclusive person. He makes great Star Trek content. And yes, we all hate you because you look so fine. And
yeah,
beautiful.
you look really good.
Looks so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
He's actually
remind
been
myself
on
to
our
look up.
show too. He was
Yes,
on a
he
special
has. He
Star
was on
Trek
Breaking
episode.
Barriers.
Yes.
Breaking Barriers. Yep,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Breaking Barriers.
Yes, we
Beyond.
talked
Yeah,
about the African American influence in Star Trek. He was part of that, and he was amazing.
Yeah.
And
And he was also took part in a little video that's gone up on TikTok trying to deal with toxicity in the fandom. So he's now part of the No Toxic Trek crew, as far as I'm concerned. It's all about positivity in this fandom. So
That's right.
He is
excellent.
he is truly a beautiful person with a beautiful heart. There because he included me in that group of his, that is not a Star Trek thing, but just a group of people supporting each other. There have been nights where I feel a little down, a little lonely, and I go on there and they're like, "Hey, come on, be a part of us," and it's all because of him.
And
So I
really-
love you, Philip.
Oh, look at that.
We all love Philip. So
Philip's our
let's
official
give,
counselor, ship's counselor. There we go.
let's give him another. If you're not following Philip, that's his address on
Yes.
TikTok. Get all over it. Thank you, Philip, for being an awesome Star Trek fan. There we go, guys.
The Bajoran way.
Excellent, fantastic. All right, so now it's time to. We've celebrated somebody else, and now let's put you guys to the test with our next game.
Uh-oh.
That, of course, is
It's time for Name That Shrekisode. The hell is
I'm ready
All
with the
right.
list. I'm
All
ready
right.
with the
Who's
list.
playing for who?
Yes,
All right.
just so that people know, listening, I take the first people that come in. The earlier you get here, that's who's gonna get assigned. Joe, you
That's fair.
have been assigned to Devin.
Okay. Sorry, Devin.
Okay.
Navia, you have Aaron Sugar,
Oh,
and
congrats.
I have Philip.
Oh, there you
There
go.
we
Oh,
go.
yay.
Well, this is going to be interesting. Now, I'll quickly go over the rules again. What I have here is an image which is currently out of focus. Over the next 30 seconds, it's slowly going to come into focus. Our three contestants up here will, once they feel like they know what this episode is, they will give me a good old Aussie oi, and then they'll get a chance to tell me what the episode is, or if they don't know the name of the episode, they've got to give us a really great description of what the episode is. So are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Nah.
Let's do. I know you're not ready, Joe,
I'm
but
not
let's
terrible.
do.
He
Name
lives
That
in Rigel
Shrekisode.
7. It's not his fault.
Here we go. And okay, just before I start, remember every picture this season is from the first season of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds.
All right.
Here we go. Here we go. I need a backing track on.
Oi.
Here. I'm gonna have to.
It's
Hey, whoa! All right, Navia,
Spock?
can you?
That's not Spock.
Spock amok? What is that?
I can't believe this, but I do believe you're correct. In fact, Navia wins.
Wow.
I gotta say, the
That's the
quickest. That
yeah,
is
you beat Jason.
season 1, episode 5. Spock 'em up.
Do you know why? This
'Cause
is
of the
the one
clothes. It's 'cause of the
episode
clothes.
That's
like
amazing.
ingrained in my brain, and I've been waiting for this episode to come out.
Have you?
I knew the episode, but she was so fast, enthusiastic.
Wow.
She got me.
That was quick draw. That was
That's
quick
so
draw.
cool.
Congratulations
And
to
what's her
Aaron
name?
Sugar.
That's
Aaron
I was like,
Sugar, you're gonna win something, buddy.
yeah,
So
congrats.
reach out to Joe, to Captain Joe. Give him your particulars privately.
If you're on
Yeah.
Instagram or Reels, it's Spectrum Sanctorum, and then we'll talk that way.
Well done, Navia. Well done, Aaron. And that
Navia.
was
Woo!
another episode of Name That Shrekisode.
You know, every week I'm trying to see what's in there because I know the one with the tongue, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. I've hidden some gems in there. I tell you, I really have.
You're very good at it.
So, all right, that was great. I can't believe how good that was, Navia. You were like, so you were like, you know what? I'm not even going to bother with them. But as soon as I see episode 5, I'm all over that one.
He was very supportive of Navia.
Yeah,
he
let's
was.
go,
Yeah, he
Navia.
wants free stuff. Everybody wants free stuff.
Good stuff. All right,
All right.
here's the next segment.
Uh-oh.
It's time for stupid Star Trek questions. I don't know if this week is really that stupid. It's a good question, guys. Are we ready for this? This week's stupid Star Trek question
Absolutely.
comes from Phoenix.
Ooh, yes.
Why do transporters keep splitting people into two?
Yes.
Why?
Well, it's very simple. You're destroying your atoms, you're spreading them all over the place, and then you're then cloning them and making two people.
Is that the issue there? Because
it's not supposed to break down to a molecular level and put you back together.
Right.
yeah.
So I think
So what's with
there's
the
a
copying?
glitch in the system when it doubles you.
Right. I think it's a pattern buffer issue, and they're like,
Yes,
oh,
it
I'm
is a
trying to
pattern
figure out,
buffer issue.
and they're just putting more molecules together, and they make two. Yeah, like Thomas,
Well, what if,
Thomas Riker,
if
right?
you're making a copy, right? Is that kind of like a hard drive backup? Like, if the first one doesn't come through within the transporter, they could go to a previous partition,
Yeah.
grab a copy of you out, and throw you in there. Because what's the deal with it copying? And if it does occasionally copy, and it's not supposed to do that, you'd be working on that, right?
Oh, you would
Yeah.
The
think.
engineering team is like, yeah, I think we got to work on this.
And what's interesting, you can find an episode about transporter duplication, I think, in almost every series. You've got one in TOS. You've got one in Next Generation. You got transporter issue, not a duplication, but a merging in Voyager.
Oh, Ubix, right?
Yeah, the Tuvok
Yeah.
episode.
Or Space-
I don't know
Ubix.
that Deep Space Nine had it, but you definitely found in Star Trek Enterprise a transporter malfunction issue with the man who transported his son and then couldn't find them and wanted to find them. I mean, there has been some issues with transporter duplication.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I think if you knew that, what's your confidence level getting into one of those things at this point?
Well, if I know I'm going to have a double, I'm going to do some terrible things to the world.
Oh,
Yeah,
I would let
Devin-
you in there. We
Devin
don't want
said-
two Joes. We
Oh,
do not
two
need
Joes?
two Joes. Two
Listen, I
Kirks, two
can
Rikers,
barely
two
handle
Boimlers.
one Joe. Okay.
Yeah, it's tough. Dave.
Well
But
done,
yeah,
Devin.
Devin says two Kirks, two Rikers, two Boimlers.
Yeah.
Absolutely
That's right.
correct.
'Cause that's right. Because he's in section 31, the other Boimler.
So
Or is
if
it
you're looking for
multiplicity?
an actual proper answer here, wrong group.
No.
I don't know.
We,
you know?
we need an engineer. We need an engineer to answer
Yeah.
that question.
Yeah.
We do. We need someone who understands the science. That's not real.
There's
Yeah.
there's two comments that are great, and Claudia's put that one up too.
Oh,
Never
yes,
had a
he-
DS9.
Damn straight,
O'Brien was
O'Brien's too good for that.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That is
Best
so true.
ever.
And then got to worry about that secret Borg code being inserted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big issue. Isn't it?
Yeah,
Another
yeah.
reason why I don't think I'm keen on ever traveling by transport.
You're gonna be like Bones then.
Oh yeah, you're gonna shuttle that shit all the way.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
think that Philip also says it's a good story arc. It's like, what road would you take? And I think that that's a very good point. Sometimes you just need something that's a good story.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Certainly
But-
doesn't end up on the agony booth, that's for sure.
That is true. That is true. Well, that was it. I don't think we've got any better answers. Like, we have no idea, but it is annoying. It certainly has rocked my faith in transporters moving forward.
Yeah, right.
So thanks
You
for
know
that,
what's,
Phoenix.
you know
Makes
what's
them
funny? When we only had TOS and McCoy would complain about getting in there.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah.
would just really just bitch and complain about it, right?
I get
would
it.
crack up laughing, going, "What's his issue?"
Yeah.
But
point.
now with all the duplications and the splits and the merging and the drama, I'm
Wasn't there
going,
one where they
"Ah."
ended up in the thing, like the holopad? Like, didn't they end
No,
up like an
that
arm?
was Scotty who put himself along with other people in order to save himself because the ship was in distress.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
That was a
75
different one.
years later,
That's a different one.
That's a different
Yeah.
one. I know what you're talking. That's a great episode, by the way.
oh,
Now, you're
yeah.
talking
No.
about when they get merged into
Into
things,
the
aren't
ship, yeah. Like I remember,
Yeah.
all right, we're gonna transport you. I'm in the wall, you know.
Bone and Pulaski. Yep, they hate it.
Yeah, Bones and
you?
Pulaski.
Doctors
But-
know something.
But the
doctors know something.
transporter saved her life.
Oh wow.
Remember when she had that genetic disease that,
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
and then she
And they
got
just beamed it
old?
out of her. Yeah.
Poor Polanski. She's the mega Karen of the Star Trek universe,
Yes.
isn't
Oh
she? She's
yeah.
totally complaining to the manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, what did Battlecat? Maybe Battlecat's got an answer about the
Yes,
transport.
Oh, yeah,
she
what
knows
does he
it
say?
all.
What do you reckon?
Oh.
There you go. Perfect
Completely
answer.
wrong.
There we
You're
go.
full of shit,
Ah.
Battlecat. I'm sorry.
I agree
Completely
with
wrong
Battlecat.
there.
I'm 100% in agreement with that.
Could you put up John Darrenowski's comment? Yeah, I would intentionally duplicate myself. That's what I'm talking about. You go in there, buddy.
I thought he was going to go somewhere else with that, and I'm going, dude, like,
no. You go to work. I'm gonna
TMI there, but you're going to just send him to work.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
But
Sarah-
doesn't that work out like that
Sarah
movie?
Oh, it's
Remember,
big.
he used the transporter to keep his daughter alive too. So yeah, there are benefits to the transporter, but
There's a lot of
Yeah,
negatives.
Except that was one of the
Scary.
most morally corrupt things he could
Yeah.
have done.
Yeah.
that's so true.
Yeah.
Nobody
You know,
needed
Don't worry
not
about
cool.
permission.
Not
No.
winning
Nobody
Father of
needed
the Year on that one.
permission.
So wait, who's a better father, Mbenga or Worf?
Oh.
No, Mbenga is. Mbenga
Yeah.
is because Worf is just like
What is
You
this?
know how I feel about
playing
people
that like
calling my
ghost
war
baby daddy
a
thing.
bad father.
What's
You
that?
know,
What'd you say, Nita?
guys are horrible. Calling my war for bad father. He wasn't a
He's
bad
terrible.
father.
He's
He's a
awful.
shocker.
It's another level.
He's absolutely
Bad is here. Worf is here with awful and terrible.
If Judge Judy had him on the show, she would
Oh, no.
eviscerate him.
yeah.
He
It's like,
didn't even know he was a dad,
You
and
know
when
what
he
I mean?
finds out, she
If he's
dies.
on Maury,
Hey,
Worf's the
girl.
one running off the stage.
yeah. I am not the father.
And starts doing his little dance. 'Cause he's not the father. Yeah.
I knew it.
That's a whole episode, you know.
Yeah, that's gonna be a Kirk episode.
All right, guys. Thanks for that. That was.
Join us next week for more stupid Star Trek questions.
And please remember to send us your stupid Star Trek questions wherever you can find us. Where should they send this?
They should send them on the YouTube. That's the best
On
way
the
to do it.
YouTube,
Yeah,
yeah,
so after
absolutely.
the show's
Not
over, so
here.
you don't get lost in the live chat. Be sure to come back, comment. You know what I want to know? Why is it that Jean-Luc Picard didn't have like some type of hair growth to come back and not be bald? Because this is the future.
Because he doesn't need to, man. 'Cause
I know he
he's
doesn't
sexy
need
the
to,
way
but that's
he
not my question.
is,
It's just
man.
what
But yeah, I mean, think about it. With all the technological
advancement.
doesn't need it.
advancement, you're gonna tell me the man had nothing going on, no medicine that could stop the hair loss? That was weird. Now
You're
that you mention
assuming
it.
that he
Yeah.
wanted to have hair.
Right.
Maybe he doesn't. I just shaved my head overnight. I clearly didn't want to have hair.
Although,
So, like,
although
I think it's a
interesting
choice.
fact, when he was cast as Captain Picard,
They
Gene
wanted to put a
Roddenberry
wig.
said they cannot be a bald captain and made him put on a wig. And then they said that he saw him with the wig, and they have recorded the first episode, and they say we need to re-record and take that wig off.
Yeah,
because he really
exactly.
did not look.
It
good
looks
with
so. He look. You know what's funny? He looked like that dude who played Two-Face in the Nolan Batman. I can't remember his name. It slips my mind. I'm terrible with these things.
he
believe it or
looks
not.
like Aaron Eckhart.
Aaron Eckhart. Yeah, with the wig. With the wig that they
Really?
gave him, he looked. Yeah, he looked
It
like.
was
Okay, man.
horrible. It was.
You gotta
not-
look it up,
Okay.
Jace. You
Do me a
have to look
favor and
it-
get that glasses prescription looked at for me, will you?
No, you got to see that. You never saw.
All
it.
right,
Wait till
next
you
week
see
we'll
it.
put a side by side on here.
You put it side by side. you're
Yeah,
like, oh,
that's what
crap.
we're gonna do.
You're 100% right, Joe. And I'm like, I know, I'm used to it. It's okay.
Let's
Oh,
get out
well,
of here,
Agent
people. Let's
Pirate
leave.
says humans of the future do not have vanity.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Exactly right.
That's not true. I will challenge that
Oh.
because in the movie,
Oh, God.
when I forget the name of the movie. Give me a second. But remember when they were defending the planet with the people who didn't age and the hair was growing back.
Insurrection.
The insurrection. He was
Yeah.
noticing his hair growth, and he was all about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, there
That's
was
because he was drunk on the endorphins of the planet.
Right.
That was
Yeah, because they all got a bit amorous, didn't they?
yeah,
They
yeah. Star
started-
Trek, Picard.
There was a little
gets
bit of
Judy.
naked now happening in that movie.
Yeah,
Just a little
yeah.
bit.
insurrection and
Picard
the
gets his groove
doctor,
back.
yeah, and Dr. Crusher
Yeah,
and
well,
Dr.
Yeah.
And Dr. Crusher and Dr. Crusher and Troy were talking about how they felt firmer ever since they've been
Yeah.
on this planet.
Yeah.
There's vanity for sure, I believe.
Nope,
There you go.
not in Starfleet.
Perfect.
And who trusts that crew anyway? They've done nothing. If what's his face from Picard, what's Todd Stashwick's character? Like
Oh,
they're
yeah.
one of the most irresponsible crews
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
Okay, they saved the universe a couple of times. Besides that, they just do whatever they want.
Yeah. It's a real chicken and egg thing with them, right?
Yeah,
It is a little bit. I don't know why I'm hating on them. I love them so much, but I just felt like hating on them for a second. No, very cool. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. All right. So
End the show.
before we go, please be sure to come by tomorrow at 8 p.m. where we have a special interview with Stephanie Shavatsky from Star Trek Picard, ironically, that we were just talking about. It is a fantastic interview. She is fantastic. We have a lot of fun. It is.
Yeah, I don't have the image here. I'm trying to bring the image up of the thumbnail.
Oh, I thought you had it.
Keep stretching. Keep stretching, buddy.
We get into her other acting prowess. She was in a surprisingly young Rock, where she plays the indomitable China, who broke barriers in the world wrestling entertainment business. She was in one of my favorite DC adaptations, and that is. There we go. Stephanie,
it's the wrong one. It's not the right one because her last letter I is missing from there. So if you guys can forgive me out there because I'm a horrible speller, this is the wonderful actor.
Yes.
But she has an I at the end of her last name.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah. She's
and how do you pronounce that, Joe?
Shavatsky.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah,
you did get that one right.
Yeah. My godfather was Polish, so it was help.
In all seriousness, though, she is a wonderful guest. Really lovely woman who is obviously a bit of a journey person at this time. Had been around in the industry a long time. Who was one of those really great guests where you ask a question and she just ran with it.
Yeah.
And she was so articulate, so funny, so charming.
She was great.
Yeah, she's absolutely wonderful girl.
And I get to meet her on Saturday, so that's even better.
Ooh.
Yep, I'm going to another con,
she
guys.
is really looking forward to that, Joe.
I'm sure she's
You
not,
mentioned
but...
it 3 times on the interview.
I don't think
I'm catching up with you.
But I'm definitely going to be handing out stickers. So if you're in Contropolis, come say hi, take a picture with me. It's free because I'm not famous. But until next time, be sure to join us next Thursday. Check us out on Friday for 8 o'clock for the interview.
It's a great interview, guys. It really is.
It really is. And I want to thank both my sci-fi queens, Nita and
Nadia.
Yes.
Hey, plug that.
Next week, right? Next week?
Yes, July 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
See, there's a thing going 8 p.m. Fridays. Make sure you come back. Always.
There's always going to be something going on, isn't there?
We will have a special guest, Jenny Johnson, the artist who painted this beautiful
that's going to be nice.
That is really cool, guys. I'm really excited about that.
That's female influence in science fiction and art.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Well done, ladies.
So again, there's always something on Friday night, but the most important thing, it's when these girls are on. So check it out.
Yep. And then I'm going to be doing Saturday morning with my good buddy Brandon. We're going to be talking about shedding light on the amazing Marvel Secret Invasion. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot to talk about because that episode was like, at the end. You're just like, right at the end, you know? So be sure to join us for those things. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to share. It really helps us out. And then ask your stupid Star Trek questions after the video is over in our comments section. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for subscribing and all those wonderful things. Be well.
Yep, and goodbye from Jason.
He looks fabulous.
I love that. Check out SpectrumSanctorum.net for all of our podcast merch. We have an entire merch store ready to give you all the things that you loved about our podcast. And get notified on all of our socials: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and our Spectrum Sanctorum merch store. Follow us today and be sure to hit that bell when you're watching our YouTube videos so you can be notified of when a new episode releases.